It's a grey, dreary morning after the British elections. Went to bed last night thinking that Reform UK had over a dozen seats. That's Nigel Farage's party. In the gloom of the morning, it seems he just has four in a parliament of 650 seats. The most terrifying news of the night came out in the morning. There are now five MPs who are on a Gaza platform. They ran as independents, including the former Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn, and they won in ethnic enclaves where there is voting by religion in the UK. You have more Islamist MPs in the British Parliament now than you have Reform MPs. It's one of the quirks of the first past the post system. Nigel Farage's party received millions of votes but received only four seats. That's just how it is, though. The Labour got 2/3 of the seats with just a third of the votes. There's no use complaining about it. The question is what to do. I fear that Keir Starmer will be a hard left-wing activist PM, even though he doesn't have much of a mandate. He's got the power, and that's all communists care about. Expect a lot more censorship. Expect a lot more Islamism as Keir Starmer seeks to stop the draining of the votes to his left. Expect the UK to change its foreign policy towards Israel, to bring in more grievance-based, ethnic-based law, to bring in more racial set-asides. I think that you're going to see more environmental extremism. Of course, they're going to move on 15-minute cities and digital currencies. I fear for the UK over the next 5 years, and there will be a tipping point at which point it doesn't matter if you cut off immigration because you've lost control of the country. That was Nigel Farage's chief policy platform in this election: stop mass migration. I don't know if it will stop under Keir Starmer, because I think every other force in this country is calling for more of it. I leave for Canada depressed and also feeling like I carry a warning of where Canada will be in 5 years if we continue down Britain's path. That's my update from the morning after. For Rebel News, I'm Ezra Levant.
All here at tendering. And I have to say, fellow candidates, it's been a well-run, well-fought and remarkably clean election battle. I think we'd all agree on that, and thank you for your services. I promise that I will do my absolute best as a Member of Parliament. I had 20 years as an MEP, but it's not quite the same link or same responsibility with constituents. I will do my absolute best to put Clacton on the map. I'll do my best to bring more tourists. I'll do my best to try and bring some private investment. It's over 30 years ago that I fought my first parliamentary by-election. I've fought lots of them over the years, and I've had big successes in European elections and perhaps less so under first past the post, which is a very demanding, very, very demanding problem for smaller parties. I will say this: it's 4 weeks and 3 days since I decided to come out of retirement and throw my hat in the ring. I think what Reform UK has achieved in those just few short weeks is truly extraordinary. Given that we had no money, no branch structure, virtually nothing across the country, we are going to come second in hundreds of constituencies. How many seats we're going to win, I don't know. But to have done this in such a short space of time says something very fundamental is happening. It's not just disappointment with the Conservative Party. There is a massive gap on the centre-right of British politics, and my job is to fill it. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. But it's not just what we do in Parliament as a national party that matters, it's what we do out around the country. Getting 5,000 people in that room in Birmingham last week, the energy, the optimism, the enthusiasm, the belief that Westminster is just completely out of touch with ordinary people says to me that my plan is to build a mass national movement over the course of the next few years, and hopefully be big enough to challenge the general election properly in 2029. What is interesting is there's no enthusiasm for Labour, there's no enthusiasm for Starmer whatsoever. In fact, about half of the vote is simply an anti-Conservative vote. This Labour government will be in trouble very, very quickly. And we will now be targeting Labour votes. We're coming for Labour, be in no doubt about that. I want to thank the team that have helped me do this over the last few weeks, my fellow candidates for behaving as impeccably as they have. Believe me, folks, this is just the first step of something that is going to stun all of you. Thank you very much.
Is the result a rebuke of the media? Is the result a rebuke of the British media?
Well, it's a rebuke, actually, of the entirety of the political system. It's not just the media, it's the electoral system we've got. It's so many of these things. And, you know, Britain is broken, Britain needs reform. That's our slogan, and I believe in it now more than I've ever believed in it.
Thanks.
What do you think of the exit poll? Are you going to get those 13 seats?
I've no idea.
Will Vladimir Putin be happy you've won this abroad?
I very much doubt it.
Did you gain more votes from Labour than you thought you might?
I think in the north of England, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And really, you know, Labour have won this election without any enthusiasm at all. And we'll now be going after the Labour vote. You watch.
What's a good vote share for reform for tonight? What do you want vote share-wise?
As many as possible.
What do you think about Lee Anderson?
I've no idea. You're the clever people, not me.
What do you think about Lee Anderson?
Lee Anderson. Do you know what? Lee Anderson has won because he had the courage to jump to reform. There are many Conservative MPs who tonight will lose their seats because they lack that courage. And the really big message is this. Geographically now in most of the country, a vote for the Conservatives actually splits our vote and is a vote for Labour. The argument they've used against us can never be used again.
Would you like to be leader of the Conservative Party now, Mr. Farage?
Conservative Party?
Yeah.
What a ghastly bunch they are. I wouldn't want to join them. How awful. What a terrible idea.
Just stay there, you're fine. Stay there.
Well, there you have it. Nigel Farage arriving at 2:50 a.m. I'm glad I stayed up. I actually had a chance to put two questions to him. The first was if this was a rebuke of the media. He said it was, and indeed the entire establishment. I also asked him something that surprised me, how reform seemed to be getting votes from areas that in the past were Labour. For example, the city of Sunderland. He said he was. I'm glad I had a chance to put the questions to him. As you can see, there's quite a gaggle of regime media here. I think we're going to go in and see what else, if there's an official statement or official results. It's so late, but we did manage to put a couple of questions to the big guy, and I'm glad we did.